Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Thomas Van Kampen. I apologize for the hiatus I was on over the weekend. I just had to take care of some life stuff, such as work, animation classes, and all that sort of stuff. So I had to take a break for a while from making these videos, and there's a good possibility that I might have to do that frequently in the future. But that said, I will try to release these as often as I can. You may have noticed a change in scenery here. For this episode, I'm not going to be working on the samurai fight from earlier. This episode, I'm actually doing my animation for my class. It's a project that's due this Saturday, so I figured, you know what, I gotta prioritize this over the samurai thing. And who knows, maybe if this turns out good enough, I'll just put this in my demo reel anyway. In case you can't tell what's going on here, the project that I'm doing is we have to tell a story in 3 cuts, so basically just 3 camera shots. And the story that I'm telling is, it's a Western Mexican standoff between these 2 generic cowboys. One pulls a gun on the other one. The other one says, "Wait, you have a gun?" And then the one guy with the gun shoots him, and that's it. So that's pretty much what's happening. Right now, I'm animating the one guy flinging back from the gunfire. So yeah, that's pretty much what's happening. I'm kind of going for the same elements that I was going for the samurai thing. That being like a unique, interesting color palette, where I pretty much eliminate black lines. Rather, the samurai animation that I was doing in the last episodes, it kind of had a color palette of like really deep blues and greens and purples and stuff like that. This one kind of is on the other side of the spectrum, so it's got like highly saturated yellows, some dark oranges, some reds, and it has purple shading too. And I think it makes this really unique look. You may have noticed my line work is orange, which I thought at first maybe it wouldn't work out, but in my opinion, it ended up looking really nice in the long run. So yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of what I'm doing right now. I do have one thing I want to talk about, and that one thing is the Ghostbusters trailer that recently came out. Everybody is really upset about the Ghostbusters trailer for some reason. And I gotta say, I don't understand why. It has more dislikes than likes by far, and I don't understand what everyone's problem with it is. I mean, I've had it explained to me, but honestly, I think people's complaints about it are pretty non-substantial. Because like everybody's like, "Oh, there's way too much neon ghosts on the screen." Yeah, because the original Ghostbusters totally didn't have any neon ghosts in it, right? Other things are like, "Oh, this is just an excuse for social justice warriors to pander to an audience, blah blah blah." Basically, what they're getting at is, because it's an all-woman cast, it's focusing more on the social justice message than actually being an entertaining movie. First of all, you've only seen less than 3 minutes of the footage so far. How can you make that assessment based on a trailer that's that short? And secondly, I would agree with you had the trailer presented anything that was very forced. Like, if one of the women was like, "Just because we're women doesn't mean we can't save the world, blah blah blah." If somebody outright said that, then I would agree with you. But that's not what happened. The trailer just focused on them interacting with each other, them showcasing their unique personalities, them talking about what's happening and how they're going to stop it, and them just being goofy with each other. They didn't once reference the fact that they were women. So I don't understand where everybody's coming from that is. They're just making assumptions right off the bat, which is just ridiculous. And a lot of people are saying that This is a product of the age of outrage where people just get offended at every little thing and everything has to pander towards a certain social justice issue. Um, and I find that ironic how that argument, the age of outrage argument, is coming from a bunch of people claiming that a movie is ruining a franchise that, let's be honest, people, is just a ripe piece of 80s cheese. I mean, I love the original Ghostbusters as much as the next guy. But the thing is that it's totally a product of its time. You can't act like it's not. It has some outdated visual effects. It's got some celebrities that were only popular at the time. It has this really weird 80s soundtrack. I'm not referring to the main theme song, by the way. That's timelessly awesome. I'm just talking about the music sprinkled in between. Yeah, so it's a total product of its time. Don't pretend like it's not, like it's this timeless, always will be enjoyable thing. I think part of its enjoyableness is how much it captures the essence of the 80s. And this one should capture the essence of the 2000s, or like the 2010s or whatever, because that way it'll actually have a bit of its own identity. See, a lot of people, and here's another argument, a lot of people were saying that this movie isn't going to do the original justice because it will be nothing like the original. First of all, I disagree. I think it's too much like the original. It has everything down from sexual innuendos to deadpan delivery to right down to plot points. Like, just based on the trailer, right? It looks like there's going to be a colossal ghost attacking the city that they're going to have to fight, much like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. It looks like they're going to have a black member who joins later on who isn't a scientist, just like Ernie Hudson's character. Except, in my opinion, it looks like this one's going to be a little more substantial because, what's her name? Leslie Jones? Yeah, that seems right. Leslie Jones's character, to me, it seems like she'll actually add a lot more to her team than Ernie Hudson did to his team, with respect to Ernie Hudson. Reason I say that is because they actually give a reason for her to be there rather than just be a guy who is looking for a job. She actually has first-hand experience with ghosts, first of all, before she even encounters the team. That's implied in one of the shots in the trailer. And for another thing, she claims to know New York, which isn't much, admittingly, but it's more of an explanation than Ernie Hudson gave. And she's the reason for them having their car. Granted, I would have preferred if the car was called the Ecto 2, but that's just me. And, you know, I appreciate this movie for establishing whatever identity it's trying to make. First of all, I think Kate McKinnon is going to be a lot of fun. She's the blonde girl with the goggles, if you didn't know. And she has lots of like funny character scenes in there where she's not even the main focus, but she stays in character the whole time. She's sort of supposed to be like this spunky, kind of eccentric, kind of sexy engineer lady. And when she sees the car, while the other two members are kind of being like, oh, I don't think this is going to work, she's there laughing and clapping and stuff like that. I think stuff like that is great touches. And a lot of people are saying, like, it doesn't match the character of the Ghostbusters because part of the big Ghostbusters charm of the original was the characters interacting with each other and not necessarily being funny all the time. And I agree with that, but I feel like there's way more character in this trailer than people give it credit for. Like I said, that whole Kate McKinnon thing. And for another, like, with the exception of Kate McKinnon, I think it looks like the other characters are just going to be gender swaps of the original cast. Like, Kirsten Wiig's character, she's like the quantum physics lady. It looks like she's going to fill Dan Aykroyd's role, where she's like the overly polite member who tries to talk to Ghost calmly, but it ends up backfiring horribly. Like I said, that's another element from the original movie that was taken and put into this. It's way more like the original than you think. And And I'm going to go off on a quick tangent. Like, think of it this way. There's a line in the beginning of that trailer that's like, that stuff went everywhere, by the way, in every crack. Like, Kirsten Wiig says that joke. Can you really... I know I'm not doing face cam or anything. Can you really look me in the eye and tell me that that's nothing like a line in the original? That's nothing like... that's a big Twinkie, or he slimed me, or anything like that. That's nothing like I feel like the floor of a taxi cab. Really? It's nothing like that? Anyway, but yeah, going on the point I was trying to make before. I'm sorry, this is so jumbled, but whatever. I have to vent this. I have to get this out. Kirsten Wiig's character kind of looks like she's going to fill Dan Aykroyd's role of being the super polite one. Melissa McCarthy? Yeah, that's her name. She looks like she's going to fill Harold Ramis's role. Rest in peace, by the way, Harold Ramis. Of being like kind of the... Actually, the more I think about it, maybe... I don't think there's any like real Harold Ramis-ish character in there. I think she's just going to be another Dan Aykroyd, where she's the overly enthusiastic, like, we can do this, guys, kind of character. So, like... The way this new cast kind of looks, it looks like there's going to be two Dan Aykroyds, kind of like the naive, polite, kind of timid character. It looks like there's going to be one spunky girl character, Kate McKinnon, with an essence of Bill Murray. And then it looks like there's going to be Ernie Hudson, but with a more substantial role to the crew than Ernie Hudson actually had. Yeah, so I don't understand what everyone's gripe with this is. Like, it seems to me like it's trying too hard to be like the original, and it seems like it's trying really hard to make the fans of the original happy, and yet it totally backfired. And I don't know, man. It looks perfectly fine to me. It feels very Ghostbusters-ish in my opinion, but has enough of its own identity to warrant its own existence. And I'm not getting any of the vibes that anybody else is getting. Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe you're going to correct me very angrily in the comments, but whatever. Anyway, that's all the time I'm going to have. Thank you so much for joining me on my Ghostbusters rant. That's always entertaining. And I'll see you guys in the next animated video whenever it comes out. Okay, see you later.